Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos team have officially started work at Manchester United. The expectation is high, but how on earth is this multi-billionaire and his team going to lead a revamping of a club that was hitherto clearly headed to the dogs? The answer is one: marginal gains. Welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Subscribe as we get to understand how exactly Team Ineos is planning to revamp our beloved club. Now, to start it off, I want to give you a definition of marginal gains as defined by Sir Dave Brailsford, who is the man in charge of this revamp in terms of executing the work. Now, marginal gains is a method of reaching high performance levels through constantly making small incremental improvements. Now, that's the definition that is so obvious for you to understand because it means make just little small improvements, but when they keep accumulating, they are going to make significant impact. Now, Sir Dave Brailsford goes on, and this is a man who is credited so much for making it work at all the teams he has been leading under Ineos, from Team Sky to the British cycling team to Formula One and all other sports disciplines he's been in. Of course, football is a bit alien, and even in his own admission, he can never be so informed and technical about football. And that is why, as we will see later, he's assembling a team, a strong one that we'll discuss. Now, he goes on to say, Sir Dave Brailsford, that marginal gains as an approach is about having intellectual honesty to see where you are going wrong and delivering improvements as a result. Now, that's exactly what Manchester United needs. The first number one thing we need as Manchester United is being honest with ourselves to see where we are going wrong. And I do love to give credit to the Glazers because I feel like they were honest and in accepting that, whereas they were succeeding in the money and the finances, they failed terribly when it came to the football matters. And that's why they managed to relinquish, to make the decision, to relinquish the football matters to people who seem to know it better. Now, but how does it work? How do you implement the doctrine of marginal gains? You first of all have got to work as a team. It can never be about one person. Sir Jim cannot do it alone. Sir Dave Brailsford, in his own admission, is not a football expert. He cannot do it alone. You've got to work as a team. Select a business process, very important. This, for the longest time, has lacked at Manchester United. There was no teamwork because John Mata, Richard Arnold had almost left everything to Eric Ten Hag, the manager, and even those before them. But also, first of all, you've got to work as a team. Select a business process. Which processes, what are the processes? Define the processes of how things are done. Who is signing players? How are players signed? What do you go through to reach an agreement with a player on a contract and stuff like that? Processes. And then study the process in detail and improve each component by a small amount. That's exactly what Sir Jim and his team are planning to do. Now, I'll give you a simple illustration. And guys, this is a bit of a land, conversation, but I'm trying to break it down for a layman, for all of us to understand what exactly is happening so that we follow to the latter. Whatever they do, whatever decision they make, we have something to contrast it against, to judge them against, because we know what exactly they are doing. And if they veer off, we are able to call them out. Now, here is a small bricks illustration of marginal gains. So you start with a small brick, keep adding one little small brick to the whole process, and eventually you're going to get to mount, a skyscraper. Like it's like building. If you're constructing a house, you don't come and just do everything at once. You keep, lay a foundation, start with one brick, and keep adding another onto the other. That's exactly the simple layman's explanation of marginal gains, and that's how they work. Now, I told you before that in how it works, the process of how it works, and this is exactly what I was saying, that you need to work as a team. Now, that brings me to the next important point that the Sir Jim and his team now are working on, putting together the team. And here it goes. That's the team for you right there. Now, Sir Jim, of course, is the man now on the board and the brainchild of the board that leads this river. And he's not going to be there every day at Carrington trying to oversee things being done. That is why Sir Dave is there. Sir Dave is, you would say, the head of the secretariat. Like he's he's the CEO, the guy who ensures every day that things are done the way they're supposed to be done at the helm, and he reports to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and of course his board that will have a glazer in it. So this is the structure. It all starts with setting up a structure because, as you saw in the process, how it works, you've got to work as a team, but there must be a process through which things happen. If you're a team, you must follow a process. If you are an individual, you can do things on your own, and that's how it has been happening. Eric Ten Hag was doing things. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was largely doing things probably by himself. There was no proper process, or he was, helped by people he did not even know their roles are. Sir Alex Ferguson is bringing in Cristiano Ronaldo at the last minute of the transfer window because he was going to Manchester City. There was no clear process of how players are signed. So what Ineos is doing in implementing their marginal gains is they're first setting up a structure because this is so important in guiding the processes. Now, this is the structure. So at the top, of course, is the board, which there is represented by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And then Sir Dave Brailsford, this guy here, would be like and I don't want to call him the CEO really, but he's the CEO of the group, the Ineos group. Now, I probably should have added one guy who is missing, and I can get him. I can add him in just a split second. That is Jean Claude Blow. So you've got a team that is led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and then below him, he's being updated on everything that happens at the club by the man now who oversees the football matters in his group. That's Ineos. These guys have seen a lot of success together. There is no reason for us to doubt what they can do because they have succeeded in all other sports disciplines. So you see at the helm there is Sir Dave Brailsford. This guy is not going to be there running the football matters because even in his own admission, he's an expert in cycling, but never in football. But he knows what has got to be done for football matters to be put right. Put together the right process, assemble the right team, and give them the right environment to operate. That has been a serious problem at Manchester United. But for us to be able to solve that problem, we should be able to analyze and be honest about the situation at Manchester United and the issues we are having. And that's exactly what is being done. Now, let me drop in here this guy who is most likely going to be the CEO. And by the way, the personalities here might change. But I just want you to understand, I'm putting faces of people who have been pointed out as the ones coming in now to steer this revamp. Now, this is Jean Claude Blow rather, who is going to be the CEO, from what we know. Now, here is the team that Sir Jim and so there you go. So you've got Jean Claude Blow just below Sir Dave. So Blow is reporting to Sir Dave. Pardon me, I don't know how I skipped him, but it's okay. We love doing things raw here. So that's the process, that's the team there. So you've got the CEO, Dave Brailsford. He's the only one who reports to the board. Before, Eric Ten Hag could go and pick calls and talk to the Glazers and whoever. There was no order at Manchester United, and that's the confusion you get. If the structure above is wrong, there is no way things are going to happen right. So you've got Sir Dave Brailsford, then you've got a CEO in Jean Claude Blow, a guy with immense experience. Then below him is a team of technical people. Jean Claude Blow's experience is in managing, is in leading negotiations, is in getting things done, is in contacts, is in trying to find ways around financial fair play, trying to deal with UEFA. His experience is global, is beyond just Manchester United. So that's why he's needed to lead a team of experts now who have got the technical knowledge of football matters. And that is the sporting director, who is reported to be Dan Ashworth, the guy as a front runner for that role. And below him is a head of recruitment, who most likely will be Paul Mitchell. So you see that now there is a clear structure. Now, before we go into any signing of a single player, before we bring in Michael Olise, before we bring in Thomas Muller and all these other players we are being linked with, this process has got to be followed to the latter. So you get to the manager, and he's the weakest guy on the chain in terms of power. His job is he will be involved in the process, but his job is not to make the final decision. Before a final decision is reached, all these processes have got, the entire chain has got to be followed. So this way, you will be able to track weaknesses. You will be able to say, oh, you know what, here is the weakness. Dan Ashworth is not doing enough as a sporting director. He has not directed us right. Or Jean Claire does not have the right contacts for us to get players, maybe quite easily or faster. Or Paul Mitchell is not, a good recruiter. He does not pinpoint the right players. Eric Ten Hag is not the right tactician to make these players work. So you see that the chain is clear, and this way it is very, very easy for you to come and review and analyze and see where the gaps are and make things right. So this is a core part of the process. This is going to be a core part of the process. Now, finally, and this video has extended a bit, I hate that, but I think it had to. And finally, after this structure is put in place and it is followed to the latter, then we have got now to go to the final and important stage of making the small marginal improvements following this structure. And what do I mean by these marginal improvements? How are we going to improve Old Trafford? Can we improve the gym, the facility at Carrington just by a little minute 1%? Can we do that? Yes. If we can do that, then can we improve the grass on which the players are playing? Can we reduce on the wage bill? And this is the job now of the CEO, that is Jean-Claire Blanc. So when all that is done, slowly, in a subtle way, small improvements over time, these small improvements are going to come together, and they will give you a huge impact on the club. And that's exactly the principle of marginal gains and how they work. Start with knowing that you need it. You have a problem. Analyze it. Be honest. See where the problem is. The problem at United, there was no structure, no process. Put together a process. Put together a team. Let the team follow the process to the latter. And now let that team start executing these small improvements in bits on different things. And over time, it's going to give you big results. If you make the basic principle of marginal gains is, if you make just 1% improvements on so many different things, after 1 year, if every day you make a 1% improvement on one thing, after 1 year, it's going to be 30%. Now that alone will have a huge impact on the club. And that's why I say we've got to be patient, because the approach now is different from what we used to see with the Glazers, the quick fixes, the stopgap measures, using money to think you can solve problems. Money clearly, as we've proved from the Glazers, does not solve all problems. But what solves problems are processes, and those processes being clear, well informed, and stuck to. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot, and that is the Ineos way, which we hope will be the winning way. Subscribe